sort of parallel to this was another movement in art and music called expressionism. Expressionism. I've mentioned expressionism briefly, either last time or the time before. It follows right after Romanticism, right? In fact, it grew out of Romanticism. And whereas Romanticism is all about, feeling and emotion, Expressionism is all about expressing the most extreme emotional states, right? And these emotional states tend to be kind of negative, right? Which is why your text describes expressionism as being somewhat akin to pessimism, right? A lot of dark, black, negative, extreme emotional states given, the utmost expression in music. And when I say, this movement ran parallel to primitivism and the stuff that Stravinsky was doing, I mean in the years leading up to World War I. Right? That's kind of the time period I'm talking about. So what are the years for World War I? So 1918. 1914 to 1918. And in the early years of the 20th century, in those years leading up to World War I, that's when expressionism was most, well, for lack of a better word, fashionable. Okay? That was the heyday of expressionism. A proponent of expressionism was a composer by the name of Anton Webern, 1885 to 1935. He's known for his violin concerto. And for this opera right here, Wozzeck is how you pronounce that. It looks like Wozzeck, but it's Wozzeck. So, Wozzeck is this mentally challenged soldier. Okay, he's not that bright. He's not that competent. Okay. There's a doctor who's he's kind of a sadist, and does experiments on Wozzeck without him knowing, without his full knowledge, without his informed consent. I said Wozzeck was a soldier. Well, his captain is really mean to him. He's persecuting him all the time. He's kind of sadistic too. He persecutes Wozzeck just for the heck of it, because he thinks it's funny. Wozzeck falls in love with this woman. She cheats on him with another man. And, I think I've set it up enough. That's where we are right here. Okay? Let's see if you can tell what happens at this point. Okay, so Marie is the name of the woman he falls in love with. Dude, that's some dark stuff. Okay, so that's expressionism. You thought I was kidding, all right? Extreme stuff, extreme stuff. You know, and like a lot of other abusive, obsessed men, what does he say? If I can't have you, no one will, right? Whoa. Okay. Kind of gives you chill bumps. All right. Just below Alban Berg's name is the name of his teacher. Berg was the student of Arnold Schoenberg. And it's possible that his work, Pierrot Lunaire, might be his most famous piece. It's a set of 21 short pieces scored for a small ensemble that has come to be known as the Pierrot Ensemble. And let's see, what does it consist of? Flute, who sometimes puts that down, picks up a piccolo and plays that. Clarinet, sometimes puts that down and picks up the bass clarinet. We've got a violinist who sometimes plays the viola, cello, piano. Okay, that's the Pierrot Ensemble. But the thing about these 21 pieces that make up Pierrot is that no two are for the same instrumentation. Right? So, for instance, you've got the whole ensemble, right? But in one piece, it might just be, you know, bass, clarinet, cello, and piano. And then the next piece might be, oh, I forgot the most important part. It's also for vocalists. Vocalist makes up the ensemble as well. Because these 21 pieces are actually 21 songs, right? 21 little poems that have been set to music for the vocalist to sing. All right, and so the vocalist is present in all of them. Right? The vocalist sings in all 21. But the instrumentation is constantly changing. Right? So from that ensemble, it might be the vocalist, the flutist, and the cello. For another piece, it might be vocalist, bass clarinet, piano. You see what I'm saying? Now, why? I mean, one reason the vocalist is so important, okay, is not just because the text is sung, right? But because of this innovation, something the vocalist does called Sprechstimme. Sprechstimme, which literally translates into speech song, right? And you need to hear it. I mean, I can describe it, but it's you really need to hear it. So let's see, Pierrot Lunaire, Nacht. Right, so we got this piano introduction, first three measures. Right? There's the cello, bass clarinet. Recitazione, that's the vocalist. It doesn't say soprano, does it? This it's kind of, the way she's vocalizing, it's kind of strange, isn't it? So whatever she's doing, it's something halfway between speaking and singing. Okay? And that's what stretch healing is. It's a method of vocal production that's somewhere halfway between singing and speaking. Okay, questions about any of that stuff? All right. Moving right along. Okay, now we come to the part of the show where we have to talk about tone row music. Okay? Remember I told you there was such a thing as music that doesn't have a tonal center? All right, we've already listened to some today. You've already listened to Wozzeck, doesn't have a tonal center. That piece from Carole Lunaire we listened to, that doesn't have a tonal center. And at first, you know, when these three guys, Alban Berg, Arnold Schoenberg, and Anton Webern, they were known as the new Viennese school. But these three guys, when they first started writing atonal music, they didn't really have a way to, they didn't really have a satisfactory way of organizing everything, right? And so their teacher, Berg's and Webern's teacher, Arnold Schoenberg, came up with a compositional technique known as the 12-tone technique, and used it to create so-called 12-tone music, or tone row music. And I want to tell you all about it right now. You need to pay attention, take some notes, because this may be on the test. All right, so there are only 12 different notes, hence the 12-tone row. There's only 12 different notes, and I can show them to you on the piano keyboard, right? We start with C. The next note up is C sharp, otherwise known as D flat, right? Because if I approach this black key from C, then we call it C sharp. If I approach the same black key from D, we call it D flat. D, D sharp, or E flat, right? E, F, F sharp, or G flat. G, G sharp, or A flat. A sharp, or B flat, right? Now, there are two places on the keyboard where you've got two white keys side by side without the intervening black key. And here's one place. The distance between E and F is the same as the distance between any white key and the very next black key, or any black key and the very next white key. It's the same distance, okay? And that's why F is also E sharp, and E is also F flat. See what I'm saying? The other place would be right here. See that D on the other end? The very next note would be C, okay? So that's the other place where there's no intervening black key, which means that C is also B sharp, and B is also C flat. But all in all, there's only 12 different pitches. They have letter names, flats and sharps, right? Questions about any of that? Let me shut this off for a second. Okay. But we can also number these notes, okay? From 0 to 11, right? In what is known as a mod 12 system. okay? The modulus is 12. Oh, yeah, let me bring this picture back for just a second. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Right? All right, so Schoenberg, who invented the technique, composed a lot of music, number of string quartets, and for one string quartet, the string quartet number 4, he used this row of notes. 2, 1, 9, 10. I'm going to use T for 10. Okay. Then he went on with 5, 3, 4, 0, and then 8, 7, 6, 11. I'm going to use E for 11. That's the original form of the tone row he used in his string quartet. So we call that the prime row. Now you can make up any kind of row you want, right? You can put these numbers in any order you want to make your row, but you have to use all 12 notes, right? And you can't repeat a note until the entire row has been stated. That's a rule, okay? So if I haven't finished stating the row, I can't repeat any of these notes again until I finish it. Make sense? That's one thing that keeps any one tone from becoming the tonal center, the tone that all the other notes want to gravitate toward, right? What if I state the row backwards? Well, we call that retrograde. And all I have to do is start from here and go back. So E, 6, 7, 8, 0, 4, 3, 5, T, 9, 1, 2. Okay, so that's just the row backwards. Okay? I can also invert the row. How do I do that? But what is an inversion? Okay, if the retrograde is the original row backwards, what would an inversion be? The mirror image, right? Or we might say it's the original row upside down. Okay? And how do we get that? Well, don't think too much about it. 12 notes, right? There's only 12. What plus 2 equals 12? So, T. What plus 1 equals 12? 11. T-E. What plus 9 equals 12?
3.
What plus 10 equals 12?
2. 7. 9. 7, 4.
Yep.
Be 8.
8. It's a mod 12 system, so 12 plus 0 is 12. It's going to be 0. Okay. What plus 8 is 12?
4.
4. 5 plus 7 is 12. 6 plus 6 is 12. 11 plus 1 is 12. There's our inversion. And all 12 are present. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Right? No. There's one more. Can you guess? Can you guess? There's one more thing I can do. Original row, the row backwards, the inversion of the row.
Inversion of the row backwards.
Exactly. So we call that retrograde inversion. So 1, 6, 5, 4, 0, 8, 9, 7, 2, 3, E, T. Those are the four forms of a tone row that can be used in 12-tone music. All right? Questions about any of that? Yeah.
Are all the characters, are they set to a certain pitch? Or can they be like...
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say at the very beginning. Yeah, that's why I started by showing you the letter names first, right? In traditional music, the notes have letter names, right? But with the 12-tone system, we give each of those notes a number, right? And that's why you remember when I put the picture of the keyboard back on here and went, okay, look here, this one is a 0, this one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right?
So it's always going to be that order? Is what I was...
Okay, so ask it again.
So 0, you started on 0, and that was C. Is 0 always going to be C?
Doesn't have to be, you know? Any other questions?
So like all this, can this like change if it was like a different piece? So just like all this.
Oh yeah. Remember I said you can arrange these numbers any way you want to. Okay, you can create any kind of row you want. The notes can be in any order, right? This just happens to be the row that Schoenberg used for his string quartet number 4. Make sense? But I can make up any row I want. You can put these numbers in any order I want. But remember, the basic principle of the tone row is no pitch in the basic row can be repeated until all 12 notes have been used. Then you can repeat. Now, was a particularly brilliant student of Arnold Schoenberg's, Anton Webern. And he had this bright idea. He was like, hey, we've applied this technique to pitch, notes. What if we applied the same sort of technique to the rhythm? What if we applied the same sort of technique to the dynamics? To each and every aspect of music? What if we did that? You know, and ordered everything, every aspect of music according to this technique. And by doing that, he began something that would have a huge impact on the music of the 20th century. Something called serialism, as in a series of notes, a series of numbers, right? Serialism, total serialism, integral serialism. You'll hear it referred to sometimes, because you're taking this technique and you're applying it to order and organize every aspect of the music, not just the pitch, but the rhythm and the dynamics and everything. That's called serialism, otherwise known as integral serialism or total serialism. Something else that Webern did is he wrote what he called klangfarbenmelodie. Klangfarbenmelodie literally means tone, color, melody. What's tone color? That's a synonym for what? Tone color is a synonym for what? Starts with a T. Timbre. Very good. It's the same. And timbre is the aspect of a tone, a frequency, that makes it very distinctive, right? It's what makes a clarinet sound like a clarinet and not a kazoo, right? It's what makes a piano sound like a piano and not a contrabassoon. Tone color. And so he would create melodies, not just out of different pitches, right? Remember, that's the horizontal aspect of music, where you have one note right after another, right after another. That's the horizontal or the melodic aspect of music, right? But instead of using notes or just notes, he would create melodies out of different tone colors, different timbres, right? You'll hear that in a minute in this one of his, the third piece from his 5 pieces for orchestra. Let's listen to that. Ooh, actually, before we do that, let's listen to some of Schoenberg's 12-tone music, okay? So I've got 4 excerpts from his variations for orchestra, okay? So what we're hearing here, if the speakers will come on. What we're hearing here is the original version of the row, what we call the prime ordering, okay? It's a completely different row, by the way. It's a completely different arrangement of the numbers. All right, here it goes. Okay, so that was the prime row. That was all 12 notes in the original statement of the theme, okay? Now what we're going to hear is the retrograde inversion of the same row, okay? So check this out. Okay, next. Next, we're going to get the retrograde. So this is the original row backwards. And finally, the inversion of the original row. Okay. All right, now, here is some of Webern's music. By the way, most all of Webern's stuff is really short, but highly, highly concentrated, okay? And in this piece, like a lot of his pieces, the klangfarbenmelodie replaces traditional melodies. Okay, and remember what this is, all right? This isn't just, notes, one note after another in a regular melody. This is that, but with a special emphasis on changing timbres, right? So he's literally trying to create a melody out of tone color and not just pitch. All right, listen to this. These guys. Later on in Stravinsky's career, he finally made the transition over to atonal, 12-tone serial music, right? But for the purposes of this class, these three guys are the ones who are atonal composers, which means that their music doesn't have a tonal center. Okay? All right, I don't really care about listening to got Paul Hindemith's name up there. We did listen to some of his music. We listened to his woodwind quintet last time. Remember that? So he'll probably appear on a test. Any questions about that? All right, go be brilliant. I've got tests here for anyone who hasn't gotten theirs yet. Julie, you didn't get yours?